Test cricket's the hardest sport in the world. Doesn't matter how good you are, you can never hide in Test cricket.
Oh, nice, Derek! Oh, and he's got a wicket first ball. Yes, he's got a wicket first ball.
I genuinely believe that my best ball will get anyone out on any wicket.
Yeah!
The privilege and honour that you have to go out there and play and perform for Australia, it's pretty incredible.
300 for Nathan Lyon.
You're in control. He's playing on your game. I'm not playing on his game.
Nice, Gary!
350th Test match wicket.
All I want to do is make my family proud, make Shane Warne proud, and just compete. Pressure is a privilege.
500 Test match wickets for Nathan Lyon.
If you've got pressure, you're doing okay. Enjoy it.
Oh, nice, Gary!
Right, you're at the top of the mark. Set the field for George then. What are you having? What's your basic sort of field for a kid, off spinner, bowling at a right-hander, may not have seen him play before?
For me, I'd go slip, point, cover, mid-off. I'd have a long on. I'd have a deep mid-wicket and deep square leg, and a lot of people disagree with that. Then you got a mid-wicket and you can have a 45. That covers pretty well all bad balls that you potentially may bowl. But understanding quicks, when they get the new ball, they get 3 slips, gully, bat pad, all this stuff. The way I think about it is I've got 1 slip, usually have a bat pad, and my second slip's long on, third slip's mid-wicket, my gully's deep square.
So if you're captaining a youngster, you've got to look at these guys in the deep as wicket takers.
Well, yeah, I honestly believe that, because if I was standing at the top of my mark and I had mid-on up, 2 catching mid-wickets, 1 guy out for a sweep shot, 45, but George comes down and just hits me over the top for 3 boundaries and a 6. Well, I'm sitting there going, well, none for 18 or none for 20 or whatever it may be, and you go, well, big thing as a spin bowler, you want to get into the game, you want to bowl long spells, because one thing I've learnt playing international cricket is that very rarely will I take four wickets from my first 5 overs, but if in my overs 17, 18, 19, 20, there's a good chance you'll take 3, 4, 5 wickets by that time, if you're good enough to challenge the defence for long times. So then understanding if you start with those guys out, then bring them up, bring them out, you're in control. He's playing on your game, I'm not playing on his game. I go off the keeper's right glove. So, George, can you stand there as a keeper? For a right-hander, lucky he's a keeper as well. If you go down as an Australian keeper would do, see his right glove there?
Yep.
That would be my natural line, because I come in here, I'm landing here, and that's a pretty nice line to come in. And my theory is I'm going to try and come in and hit the top of off, spin in the top of off. You flaunt with a bit of danger as well, because you open up the offside if you play against really good players, but it really depends on who you're bowling to, but that would be my natural line.
You say you're fraught if you overpitch, but if you get it spot on and they get a bit sort of fancy with their hands through extra cover, that's your inside edge you're challenging.
Yeah,
yes?
Yeah. So I learnt this from Punter. The big thing for him was if I was able to start the ball in George's eye line, but be able to drift it out onto that line of the keeper's right-hand glove on a nice length, naturally his hands would open up, which would allow this gate. We always talk about dream ball bowling for spinners, spin the ball through the gate. If you're able to open up the hands, spin it through the gate, hit the top off, go around high five everyone. It's a pretty good feeling.
So that's the line you start the ball off. Is that also a nice guide for the way you're going with your body and your forces? Yeah.
Big one for me is that I want my shoulders to go up and over. I don't want my shoulders to go around. If I get there to the top of my crease, top of the release point, and my shoulders go around, the ball will go like that. It won't bounce. A big thing for me is my shoulders go like that, and I'll get that from my drive through my back leg.
Yeah.
And finish through my action. That's part of my blueprint. It allows my ball to, shoulders go like that, allows the ball to come over the back of it, get a bit of bounce.
Show us another one. Whoa, he's got you there. We got fielding protection. But that's the line you're talking about. Maybe just tad full, drag that back. That's when you're talking about opening up the hands.
Yeah, see, I don't mind that. That's no run.
Yeah.
It's straight to cover.
Yeah.
And as a spin bowler, off-spin bowling to a right-hander, I want him to try and hit me through cover and mid-off the whole game. By doing that, getting them to hit there, brings in that edge to the bat pad. One slides on. And don't forget, I don't know whether it's going to spin or slide. First slip to Steve Smith. through the gate.
It was a very short period of time from playing your first class debut to your Test debut. It happened. And what was that experience like?
So what, debuted Big Bash in January,
Yeah.
first class cricket in February,
Test match cricket.
Australia in August.
Is that a good thing?
Oh, well, now it is, yeah. No, I think, yeah, I wouldn't change it, but I didn't know what I was doing. Had no idea what I was doing, and but I was just extremely grateful that I had Brad Haddon behind the stumps, I had Ricky Ponting at mid-wicket, I had Michael Clark at first slip and captain. It was Pup's first official captaincy when he took over from punter, and I had Mike Hussey at mid-on, like 4 guys who I don't think you could ask for a better 4 to put your arm around or I don't know, help you land your feet in international cricket.
Was there any point in you thinking, what am I doing here?
Yeah, 100%. I remember I got told I was playing the day before the game, and I remember being over the moon, Cheshire smile, like, everywhere. And I remember calling Dad and I said, Dad, I'm playing tomorrow. And Dad just goes, oh, that's good. And hung up the phone. And I was just like, what's happened type thing. And he goes, I've since found out he was too emotional and he didn't want to build me up. But he goes, at least you'll play one game and that'll be it type thing. But yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. I was, 23, never really been overseas before. And suddenly you're in a foreign country, subcontinent, and typically spinners win your games of cricket or expected to win games of cricket, and suddenly you're playing 4 first-class games, hardly bowled on a day 4 wicket ever, and suddenly you're playing your first Test match and on a spinning wicket. It's like, hang on.
Have you always had the ability to get that bounce, that overspin?
Well, it's something that I worked on with John Davison. There's no point hiding behind that. That's something that one of my big focuses is having energy at the crease, and that will allow you to do that. One of my pet hates is seeing spinners go through and just put the ball there. Biggest key is bowling it.
How quickly do you need to read the pitches from ground to ground? I mean, this is probably a little more like home, isn't it? Because it's a lot firmer than some of the pitches you'll find in the UK. How do you find the right length for a certain pitch? What are you looking for? And also the pace, perhaps, to bowl on a certain pitch.
Yeah, that's on conversation with your batters. If we bat first, and understanding what works, what worked for their spinners, what didn't work for their spinners, and understanding, getting that feedback from the guys out in the middle. But also, if we bowl first, is talking to the keeper. Your keeper is your best input for advice. You find out if the shape on the ball, the pace on the ball, what pace do we think is going to be effective? Is it slower, is it quicker? Also depending on the batter as well. And also if they're doing all the fancy shots that they do now. So it's just understanding all that and going on with a clear plan.
Who told you were playing the next day? How did that happen? And when did Pup first throw you the ball? What did he say?
Yeah, I owe Punter a fair few beers for this, and I actually bowled to Punter and Huss in the middle of Gore for about an hour and a half, one session before the game. Michael Beer was going to be selected for that game. It was pretty well set and done, and then until I bowled to Punter for an hour, and he come out of the nets and went straight up to Pup, and it was like, Pup, you got to play Gaz. You got to play Gaz. I don't care what you say, you got to play Gaz. And so then Pup goes, oh, Gaz, can you come for a walk? And I walked up into the change room, and Greg Chappell was like been sent to the principal's office, and walked in there with Pup and Greg Chappell sitting there, and expecting them to say, oh, you're not playing this game, but it'll be a good experience. And I'd be totally fine with that. I thought this is an amazing learning curve, and they said, right, goes, you're playing and you're the only spinner we're going in with. And I was like, okay.
Did something inside of you fall on its side?
I don't know what happened. It's just my heart went through my chest nearly. So it's fond memories now looking back at it. Greg Chappell presented me baggy green that morning, the morning of the game, and then we actually batted first. And I remember walking out the bat and batted with Mike Hussey, and he's just like, "What do you reckon?" I'm like, I don't know, mate. You're the Mr. Cricket type thing. But Pup just goes, "You ready, youngster?" He goes, and threw me a ball. That's all Pup said to me. But then Mike Hussey come up and just said, "Bowl with a smile on your face." And he goes, "If you do that, you relax." So that's one big thing I still use today. And punter just walked over at mid-wicket, tapped me on the backside and just said, "Just bowl your best ball and trust your skill."
Well, I watched back that first ball the other day on YouTube or whatever it was. I didn't really detect much of a smile. It was more of a grimace when you were first starting. You looked like...
Oh, couldn't breathe. Looking back at it, it's just like, that happened such a whirlwind. Like, you dream of playing cricket for Australia as an Australian kid growing up. That's all you wanted to do. Then suddenly you get handed your baggy green. Then suddenly you get the ball and you get the opportunity to bowl. Yeah, pretty good start.
And you got Kumar Sangakkara up the other end. First ball, perfectly pitched, spun, brilliant catch from Clark.
Yeah.
And Tony Gregg was on comms. I don't know if you realise that. You probably did.
Yeah, I've seen the highlights a few times. I actually thought it was a really wide ball, but then, somehow I found the outside edge and Pup took an unbelievable catch and one way to calm the nerves.
Absolutely. And you end with 5.
Yeah.
Still got the ball?
Yeah.
Where is it?
At home. My wife's actually made a nice little art piece where I've got on ghost rack, so all the balls that I've been able to be successful with are all on a ghost rack up the wall. It looks pretty cool.
On that debut as well, were you given a letter, a handwritten letter from Justin Langer?
Yeah. So the day before the game, we're on staying at a nice hotel in Gaul and had tiled floors, and I was just laying in my bed on the phone as everyone does, and then you hear this under the floor. What's that? And go there and there's a letter. Welcome to the Baggy Green Club, and you're now a role model for so many different people, which is so true. And Trent Copeland, who he actually played cricket with my brother, so I knew Trent from ages 14. So it's quite unique that Trent and I were making our debut together, and being from the similar areas back home. And all I got a phone starts ringing, and it's Trent. He goes, "Did you get a letter?" I said, "Yep, got a letter. Did you read it?" "Yep, read it." He goes, "Pretty cool." I'm like, "Yep, pretty cool, but I'm nervous." Real nervous now, but it's pretty cool. Ricky Punter was the best to talk to when I was bowling to him in the nets. It's unbelievable. Just gave you so much time.
What was his big thing then?
Opening his hands, if you can start the ball in his eye line. He used to just talk to. I remember my first real net session with the Australian team before my first Test match at Gaul. Just bowled to him for about an hour in the net, and he just come down, faced me for about 6 balls, come down, talked to me about facing Havajan, what he struggled with, where I could get better at, and trying to learn the craft. Because when I started, I had no idea what I was doing. And he just spoke about opening his hands up, start the ball in the eye line, drift away, open the hands up, bring in bat pad through the gate.
Gold.
Oh, kids a dream of stuff. And plus, it's a punter effect. Anything he says is right.
Was 4 years about from that time after Warne had retired, and Australia had gone through a few spinners. Did you and your fellow spinners in Australia still feel under the shadow of the great man?
I still feel under the shadow of Shane Warne now. And what am 129 Test matches in, 530 wickets. Like, the thing is, I'm happy with that, and I'm comfortable with that now. I probably struggled with it early doors, because every year was like you'll be trying your hardest, like going out there every game, but it felt like the media would be like, all right, who's the next spinner? Like in the Australian public, we need a spinner to do what Shane Warne did on last day. And like I'm 10 matches into my first class career. Like I'm never going to be able to do what Warne did. Like Warne's once in a generation. He's the greatest to play the game in my opinion. And all I want to do is make my family proud, make Shane Warne proud.
Right.
And just go out there and compete. So, yeah, a lot of us felt the pressure of Shane Warne shadow, but now, and it probably took me a good 5, 6, 7 years to understand that pressure is a privilege. And if you got pressure, it means you're okay, you're doing okay, and enjoy it.
Your friend, the Kookaburra, which
Yep.
you've grown up with.
Oh, heaven. Look at that.
Is it?
Yeah.
Compared with
Beautiful.
that?
Yeah, look, slippery. Look at that.
So again, going back to Warne, he said he had to, when he was at Hampshire, he couldn't grip it.
Yeah.
So he ended up finding this sort of slider thing.
Yeah,
But that just sits in your hand nicer. Doesn't it?
Yeah, look at that new ball.
So you could bowl, could you open the bowling with that?
Yeah, I could, but
Was there a danger it could disappear over the keeper's head?
no, I don't think it would disappear. There's a good chance it would fall quite short and disappear in the crowd. Because I opened the bowling back in that 2019 Edgbaston
that's
test.
what I was going to ask you about.
And I went home that night and wasn't happy with the way I was bowling, but in my head I was like, it's a new ball. As soon as the lacquer goes off it, you'll be fine. Doesn't matter what ball it is. It's the same principle, same method. I'd just seen over the Duke in my hand. I don't change my run up or anything like that.
No.
But a lot of guys, they get the different balls in the hand, they lose belief.
Have you ever split your finger like Moeen did in the Ashes?
Yeah. Yep, all the time.
So you would have had enormous sympathy for him when that happened, did you?
Oh yeah.
What can you do about it?
Repair it. Can't tell you that one.
That's a trade secret.
Yeah,
isn't it?
that is. I'll tell you when I finish. But yeah, no, you can see. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm ripping them there.
Yeah.
Ripping there and ripped there. I think Moeen ripped there. I normally rip back here, then there, but it's all part of it.
Sacklane used to rip his and pee on it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I got asked that in the press conference in Edgbaston, but won't be doing that.
Being handed the team song, you talk about proud moments. Why is that such a big thing? How did that happen? And could you quite believe it when you were told that you were doing it?
No, I couldn't believe it at all, to be honest with you. It was funny. I was in the car with Shane Watson was driving, Huss was in the front, I was in the back. There was only 3 of us in the car. I was leaving the MCG after a test match win, and obviously I had a few beers, and Watto wasn't drinking and he was driving. He goes, "Oh, I'm glad I got you two in the car. This is Huss." And I said, he goes, "Oh, I just want to let you guys know that I'm going to retire in Sydney." So then we spent the next 20 minutes in shock and trying to tell Huss, "No, don't be an idiot," type thing. I'll talk to Amy type thing and we'll clear it all up, and nothing to be cleared up. He just had enough. And so then I went back to my room and it's like, no, this can't be happening. Huss can't be retiring. So this is only 2 years into my test career, or a year and a half. And then my phone rang and it's Huss. He goes, "Gaz, can you come to my room?" I'm like, "Yep, no worries, I'll bring." So I went down to the bar and got a couple of Coronas and went up there and sat down and had a couple of beers with Huss, and when I walked into his room, he had this letter, and he handed this letter and he goes, "Don't open it now, but I want you to take over the team. Well, I'm choosing you to take over the team song." And I'm like, "What?" He goes, yeah. And then I went home and read the letter, and he just said on the letter that you play the game the right way and type thing, and he wants me to lead the team song. So for the next week, I had to lie to my teammates because everyone goes, "Oh, you know who's doing it." I'm like, "No, I don't know. And that was part of the deal there. I couldn't tell anyone. And everyone was saying it's going to be Davey or Matt Wade at the time, and it was out of those two in the media, and my name wasn't brought up at all. And Then when we won in Sydney and Huss's last game, he made a big song and dance about it, and it's pretty special. And you asked me about being nervous. I get more nervous singing the song than I do bowling an off break or batting. I look at it as such a privilege and honour, and it's probably more important than being the Australian captain. In my eyes, you have the responsibility to make the song special for the guy on debut, the guy playing his 70th Test match who scored 100, or the doctor or the physio who's been working their backside off the whole week to get someone through the game. It's a whole team and squad and medical staff and all management staff team, and I get the privilege to lead that and make that special and make that every song's a different memory. And that's what I'm extremely proud about.
We sometimes look at the baggy green and think, oh, come on, boys, what are you on about? You know, turn it up, so to speak. But what is it like being in that club? What does it mean to an Australian cricketer? You mentioned the letter, you mentioned the pride in getting the baggy green. What does that feel like?
It's hard to explain, to be honest with you. As a kid, you ask a lot of kids back home who love cricket, what do you want to do? And play cricket for Australia. Like every Boxing Day would be, you'd go outside and you'd play backyard cricket, but you'd be inside for the toss. Then you'd watch the whole first session, go outside and at lunchtime play, come back and do it. And that was our Christmas. And to understand how many players have played cricket for Australia, and the privilege and honour that you have to be able to have a baggy green but go out there and play and perform for Australia, it's pretty incredible. I find it hard to explain because I'm so passionate about it.
In the way you speak there, you mentioned role models, being a role model. Have you ever fell short of standards, would you say?
Yeah, probably, but if you haven't, I don't think you lived. Not everyone's perfect. We're going to make mistakes, but I feel like once you make a mistake, whether it's on the cricket field, whether it's crossing the street, it's an opportunity to learn. Struggle, but struggle that are embraced. You can never hide in Test cricket. Defensive bowling with attacking field.
Yeah.
Attacking bowling with defensive field. The Test World Championship is my World Cup. I feel like we probably got too arrogant for our own good. You know me, Warne, you're a pretty honest guy, only peel when they're out.